Calling all water brothers, calling all water sisters, calling all newbies, calling all curious people, those that are familiar with the water of life, those that are unfamiliar with the water of life, those people have no clue that we have a clue. May you all find your way to this Q&A. Aloha, James. Where are you dialing in from?
Grand Canyon.
Where is it?
Grand Canyon?
Oh, yeah. Didn't you and I chat the other day?
We did, yes.
Excellent,
Hi.
excellent. I like your cave within the canyon.
Yeah, it is. Sanctuary.
Is it a mobile or is it a stationary?
What's that?
Are you in a mobile van or are you in a home?
A little studio apartment.
It seems to work.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love your necklace. Is it obsidian?
This is onyx
Cool.
from Thailand. Picked it up when I was down there. And then I put it all together myself. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, I'm Matt.
Well, I go by Riel. We've chatted on Instagram recently.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's your voice.
Yeah, that's my voice.
So
Right
you
on.
moved to Thailand for the fruit eating. This is a thing, I hear.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thailand, and I was in Bali and Malaysia for a while.
But was it from a fruit eating journey perspective?
It was, yeah.
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 Well, that's a thing, and I get it. The weather, you handled it?
Yeah, it was lovely. It was wonderful. Thailand was amazing.
Yeah, you just gotta not
Most of
wear a
Bali
shirt.
were-
You're good to go.
Pretty humid.
Did
Yeah.
you run into Eric Storch?
I'm not familiar with that name, no.
All right, Eric is a urine therapy teacher, a friend, and a pretty good stand-up comedian, and he's over in Thailand.
Do you know whereabouts?
No, but if you send me a PM, I can hook you guys up.
Okay.
He's been very supportive of this movement and message for the last 3 years.
Yeah. I was back there far before I discovered this, so wasn't even on my radar back then.
Wonderful. Well, it has landed on your radar. Here comes
Oh,
Precious.
yeah.
Adam, do you want to be muted or have a voice on this call? Precious, welcome to the call.
Aloha, Brother Sage. Thank you.
Aloha, where are you dialing in from?
Pahoa, Big Island.
Oh, Big Island. You know where I am?
Yeah.
Yeah, just across the ocean in the
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Yeah. I was just there. Gosh, a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, up in Hyanna.
Well, I don't know that area, but I'm going to leave you. I'm going to send you my cell number. I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, awesome.
Since I got here, it's been a joy to have discovered over 12 people that are practicing shivambu on this island of Kauai. 12 people. 5 of
Wow.
them surprised me because they knew who I was before I got here and they had copies of my books. I'm going, wow, I came to the right place. So I want to meet you. We have little pockets of people in all the islands now. So
Yeah,
maybe
good.
we can bring in Matt and Emily and all you guys and have a retreat in one of the islands.
Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody's resisting that idea. I love it.
No.
So Adam, Adam may want to stay muted. That's cool. All right. Did anybody bring any water?
Oh, gotta grab it.
Go grab it. Go make it fresh. The tap is always accessible. Zip, you got shivambu. There you go. I love it with you guys. You don't have to go into graphics and say anything. Just go zip. I'm collecting my shivambu. Thank you very much. Emily is in the house. Shivambu, everybody. Just a little background music. May I awaken to love this morning. I'm going to read you as a form of our communion. This is different because I'm getting off my normal format here. I'm going to read you this little lyrics to a song. You might have heard it sung on one of your playlists. It's by a woman named Libby Roderick, and it's called "How Could Anyone." Have you heard of it?
No.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, who shot out a chat? Oh, Adam, can you hear me? We can't hear Adam. Anyway, it's called "How Could Anyone," and just taking the words, and this is going to be our form of gratitude to Shiva, the destroyer, the creator, the non-being, the non-entity, the energy that lives in our water, that has a consciousness in our water. If you're wondering why, if you haven't figured out why, all of a sudden you have a knowingness about you, and you have a level of safety and happiness and joy about you, it's built into the water. So, Emily, it's always good to see you.
Love you.
This is an amazing UT teacher right here. Or does the screen go this way? I have no idea. Okay,
Thank you.
here we go. How could anyone ever tell you that you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you that you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. Jai Ganesha. Satnam, all the good names you want to use. Blessings. So we're going to start off. It's a Q&A. Does any of you guys have a question you would like to ask the UT teachers that you see here? Matt, Emily, myself. You guys are all UT teachers. You may just not haven't stood up yet and voiced that, but you all teaching unit, but you're in therapy. You guys have any questions? James?
No, not yet.
Okay, cool. I'll ask a question.
Oh, Adam's got his hand up.
Adam, what's your question?
You might have to,
Unmute, Adam.
yeah, Adam, you might have to type it in for us, brother.
I will be glad to. Adam raised his hand. All right, Adam. Unmute. Oh, I am the keeper of the chat line.
Yeah, I think he's got a thing where he probably won't be able to hear us, or yeah, he can't hear anything. Okay. Or
Gotcha.
probably.
Okay. Did you just type that, Emily?
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess we wouldn't be able to field the question then, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So here's a question. How serious are you about telling other people about your discovery and self-healing with shivambu? Are you still holding back? Yes, anybody can answer this question. Have you been telling people about shivambu? Are you still feeling shy and unsure of yourself and holding back?
I'm holding back from posting to Facebook because I'm still living with other people who I'm just navigating that, and you know, I kind of hint at it on Facebook.
Yeah. What
I'm
about
only 12 days in.
and your reason is?
There's nobody to share anything with.
Oh, you mean other than social media?
Yeah.
All right. What are there any animals like mountain lions you can share?
I talked to the coyotes.
The coyotes. In case you guys didn't know, James Rael, our brother Rael, is living in the Grand Canyon. So you're interacting with other species and other beings. Right on. How about anyone else? Emily?
Gonna say, how did you learn about urine therapy, James?
Like I told you, I kind of crossed my radar. Maybe about a year ago, I started following Matt on Instagram, but didn't interact with him. And it was 12 days ago, I took a mushroom journey out at the canyon rim. And I came out of that, and this random person had sent me a message on Facebook asking me if I practiced urine therapy. And I don't know what happened, but something clicked that night. And the next morning I got up and I peed in a cup and just started rubbing it into my body. And something just felt really right about it. And that's that. Very serendipitous.
I'm laughing because yeah, something similar happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about that. You know, mushrooms plus knowledge equal realization.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful, guys. Anybody else want to share how you got started in urine? Mine was more of a direct suggestion by Shiva, aka Babaji. Those that don't know my story, if you want to know, I'll tell you sometime. But anybody else have a fascinating intro where you got over shyness or the disgust factor and said, "Hey, it sounds great. Let's do it."
I can. How long do I have? How long of a story do you want?
Short version would be preferable. We only have about an hour of the call.
Is that like 2 minutes?
Yeah, can you do that?
I'll try.
All right.
All right.
Good.
So 20 years ago, living on Maui, and in a community house that I started in Kihei, and I was pushing down the kitchen garbage, and someone had left a broken wine glass in the garbage, and it sliced halfway through my thumb. And back then there wasn't a lot of health insurance, universal health coverage, so I didn't have insurance. I wasn't into doctors either. I was totally into self-healing, so I didn't want to go to the doctor or the hospital for stitches. And 3 days pass. I'm throwing everything I know at it, and it's not healing or closing. It's getting pussy. And so one of my housemates, he says, you should dip it in your urine. And I thought, well, that's weird, and it doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, why would I do that? And then another day goes by, and then he brings a book to me by Cohen Vander Kroon. How do you say it?
Cohen Vander Kroon of Holland.
Kroon. Yes, Cohen Vander Kroon's book. And so I start reading the book, and I'm like, okay, now this makes sense. I'll do it. And so, you know, fourth day, my thumb's all pussy and getting infected. I stick it in my urine, and like within 2 hours, the like horrible throbbing and pain stop. And by the next, you know, I did it all evening, and by the next morning, deep cut that needed stitches, it's closed up. And I was blown away. And so then my housemate, you know, by then I was reading the book. My housemate was already drinking his Orina. So I gave it a try. And then our other housemates started giving it a try. And all of a sudden we had like 5 people in the house that were all walking around drinking their Orin. And I went deep at that time. So, you know, it's 20 years ago. I started drinking everything. I started saving everything. Then I tried boiling it all down and to 1/4 of its original volume, and started standing in the sun every morning and rubbing my body down. And I started getting just spiritual heights of clarity. And then somehow I wandered from the path the last 10 years. And so I'll leave it there for now. That's how I got started.
Oh, wonderful. Does anybody have a unique, let's see if this will work. Oh, who knew? Does anybody have a special or a favorite UT protocol that they use regularly that you like to share with people? Like for me, it's a foot soak, and I started keeping a quart spray bottle in the shower. So when you go into the shower, you don't necessarily need the shower water from the city. You can spray top to bottom, front to back, mouth, nose, eyes, whatever, and give it a chance to dry out. So anybody else have a protocol that they're enjoying? Emily.
So recently Matt has got me on enemas, and I had held off on that for a long time just because it's like very nerve-wracking. Totally, a lot of people don't know about that, and you know, they'll think it's gross, and it's a difficult thing to get into, first of all. But I jumped into it with him. And so far it's been like my 3rd day this week doing that, and legit I yesterday I was on the floor, I held it in for about 30 minutes. And then like I had a crazy bowel movement and it all like flushed out of me. And I have digestive issues, and I always have when I was growing up. But I think the enemas are going to start helping me release all of that toxin buildup and all the blockages that are in my gut.
Thank you. And I'm glad you brought that point up, Em, because any good naturopath, nutritionist, or wellness practitioner, when they're approached by someone with a serious health challenge, the first thing they suggest is enemas or colonics.
Right.
Because when the sewage is blocked up, things get reabsorbed in the bloodstream. They go to the brain. People get migraines. They got inflammation in pockets of their gut, and it's causing pressure on the front and back organs. And a lot of diseases that are named by doctors are misdiagnosed because oftentimes it's constipation. So when people say, well, I got a back problem, I got a problem in the uterus, I got a problem with my liver, and doctor says this and that, get a colonic or an enema and then see how it feels. Whether using evolving orin or whatever you put in your bag.
I have a good enema story from yesterday. I had a low-grade headache all day long, kind of a toxicity headache, and I was, drinking all my orin. Then I went out in the sunshine, did a bath in the sun. Still, the headache wasn't going, and so finally I thought, all right, time to do an enema. So I gathered up some of yesterday's orin and then a little bit of aged, enough that I could handle, that it wouldn't burn, which I just started in the last few days of using aged orin for the first time. And I put the orin in, and within 3 minutes, the all day headache just vanished. And of course, similar to Emily, I just flushed out and felt so much better.
Does anybody drive a car?
Yes.
All right. Does anybody have containers with their shivambu in their car? Am I the only one?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right. I've got 2 quarts in the back and a box. In the front, I've got a 1 ounce spray thing for the nose with a pump. I've got another one with the tip when it shoots it straight up. So anytime during the day, if the brain ain't working, the energy is not there, I'm going, I need some help, shivambu. And it's so easy to turn your car into a spa once you get a little creative. And the beautiful thing is you don't have to compromise your lifestyle. It's your freaking car, and you do what you want in it.
I just had a vision, Brother Sage, of a real nice van, a mobile spa unit for Kauai. And maybe that'll be the first spa.
Yes. And any idea what color it might be? I'm guessing it's going to be a
you
yellow.
don't do it. Emily and I might do it eventually. You don't do it, brother. So you gotta
Yeah,
train.
I was reading the brothers. What's your name, by the way? Precious.
Precious, yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking the same thing when he brought that up about the van.
Well, anything's possible. If you guys have a way to do that, if you know anybody who can customize vans, we could set it up. I don't know if it's the kind of thing where you have to let the establishment know what you're up to. But there's always a way. There's always a way. I've been off radar for most of my life. I don't know how it's happened, but being such a loudmouth about something that's controversial, I'm still on social media. So, I've got a lot of angels and enlightened forces around. And same with each one of you other guys. You guys are powerful voices out there. You're not concerned about the algorithms are going to find me.
Oh, we just get shadow banned. It's cool.
That's so cool. Who's willing to go out to the streets and talk about this subject? Is anybody courageous enough to do that? Something I did when I was living in Boulder was got a permit from the city to host a table on a popular downtown mall. It was an open mall where there was lots of people walking back and forth. So I got a permit. I have a nonprofit which can be used for anybody here as the umbrella. It's the Shivambu organization. And so I had a table and 3 of my students went out there with a camera and signs and books and giveaway stuff. And in 4 hours, 35 people came up to ask questions. And of the 35, there's only 3 hecklers. And it's recorded. It's on some of it's on my YouTube channel. So I'm always challenging people to get out of their comfort zone and stop going, okay, I'm telling everyone on social media, but the people in your town that are suffering and sick, they never hear about it.
Yeah, right.
So that's totally up to you.
I'm not there yet, but I can imagine in the near future, once I'm enjoying the benefits and am on my way through your teaching program, then I can imagine it.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I'm definitely telling everyone I talk to these days in person, but I'm not going out much and not hanging out on the street. But I can imagine that.
Well, here's the next best thing, and Matt is already doing this next best thing. Emily is about to be part of this next best thing. It's being listed on the International Water Family Directory, which you can find at brothersage.com. And we've got urine therapy teachers and therapists from United States, Canada, Africa, India, Netherlands, all over the place. We'd love to have you guys listed. If you're interested, send me a private message outside of this format, and I'll tell you how to do that. When you're ready, Emily, we'll have you listed.
Yeah. Yeah, I went on that website today and I was looking at all the people from the different countries that were listed, and I was like, wow, this is amazing that you just have the tab, you can scroll down and see where the person's located. So it's important.
Yeah. And when you're listed there,
Benzodiazepine withdrawal, got my number from there. Yeah, they got helped. You know, it's still terrible, but like, yeah, that was a nice example of it functioning. Like, you know, somebody who was looking for help, somebody gave them that list. Yep.
yeah,
And then they called because they're like local, or you know, close to my region or something. You know, familiarity, all that.
mm-hmm. Well, you're going to get to a point. I've been at that point for the last like 5 or 6 years, where people are reaching out to you for all different reasons. They're reaching out to you, whether they have a health challenge, they need someone who will finally listen to that. They have a private hobby called drinking pee, someone they can connect with, or maybe they just need somebody who will hold space and love them. And I get people from all over the place. Sometimes they're calling me because they don't know this is Hawaii time. I get a call at 6 a.m. Hey, listen, I need to talk. Can we talk? I'm going, yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you get into that, when you get into that position in life, and Matt, you got to see how Doc Mike Whitford operates. He's Marine. You can never be an ex-Marine or an ex-Special Forces.
Yes, we're there in person, basically. I love this guy.
Yeah, so he's true blue to what his training was, and I'm in the same way, but I never trained Semper Fi, whatever it is, Semper Fi. I never trained military style, but I was trained to be available, present, on call, like a 911 operator. And you might find yourself in that position when someone reaches out to you, you know how to drop everything and be right there for them.
Yeah.
Ready, Emily.
I like when things happen so unexpectedly too. It happens where, you know, you encounter these people that need to hear something at a certain time, and they don't even really consciously know why they're being gravitated into your fields, but there's always something to hear.
Yeah. And Adam is trying to, do you see that, Matt?
Okay, so he can see and hear us, so he can type out a question and we could answer it that way. He doesn't have a functioning mic or camera, but he can.
Will he have access to the chat feed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You guys come up with any questions yet?
Yeah,
James, hit us.
I do have a question. So 3 days after I started the body massaging a couple of weeks ago, I consumed an ounce of my Orin and had a total shitstorm. And I did the same thing on day 2 and had the same experience. So I had joined a couple of Facebook groups, and there seemed to be a group of people that say that that's not normal. And then there are some people say that that is normal in the beginning. So I want to hear what your all experiences are. I've cut back from consuming it till I understand some more. I've also read that it's best to start with just a couple of drops at a time. But I just kind of did the
James,
shot glass.
I know a little bit about your lifestyle, and frankly, you're pretty cleaned out with the way you eat. And I find people who have done more work get more work done whenever they add in a new effective therapy. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
Okay, I would like to add to that.
Yes.
Whether it's normal or not normal, whether you should drink a certain amount or not a certain amount, whether you should drink the midstream or the entire amount, whatever the questions that people come up with, I always love them. It's going to lead back to the same place. Shivambu is an intuitive elixir. It's a personal medicine of your own aliveness and your well-being. So if you intuitively feel like you need to back down, or you need to drink more, or you need to fast on it, trust that. Does that make sense, James?
It does. Yes.
Because otherwise, with as many other questions you have about every other area of your life spinning around in your brain, when you know at least one area is handled.
Okay.
And since everything's connected, how well you listen to your intuition for your own body, it will tell you how well you listen to the intuition about your relationships and your money and everything else that's in your life, because it's all connected.
Thank you.
And next question.
Kind of alarming though, like, yeah, since a lot of people don't, aren't so cleaned out, they can drink a decent amount and still not have incredible bowel movements. I wasn't one of those people. So I'm used to it. Sounds normal to me. It's not talked about. That's my point. It's not talked about because I think it doesn't happen to everybody. But yeah, it's the ammonia, is that a diuretic? The whole thing is a diuretic, if you ask me. It just helps everything flow.
It does. And if you've ever experienced drinking an entire liter first thing in the morning, I learned this technique by way of studying the ZenCleanz with Stanley Burroughs back in the day. And he'd have people drink, it was called the extra push, or the extra laxative. He'd have people drink a whole quart of warm water with 2 teaspoons of sea salt, first thing in the morning. And then I start doing it with fresh and evolved Orin, and you better be by a toilet real soon. Because it takes the whole tube and it gives it a bath, gives it a cleansing. So
some people go so far as to say, and frankly, they're right, if you do that, you don't need enemas. Now, I think it's a daily enema practice that is ideal for everybody because of that reabsorption issue. You just want to keep it clear. It sounds unnatural, but it works, because there's so much what's unnatural is to eat all the poison. And then it's like getting super reabsorbed in the colon. So we have to do enemas every day. It keeps me sane. Like what I care about at this point. What other practice can I do that's that powerful that I can do that often, that only makes me more sane and more grounded or whole without shooting me off into the astral whatever too much? There's just enemas, especially urine enema. So that's why I feel so good. Like any naturopath should be saying first thing, it's so safe for everybody. I think they took it out of the hospitals in the 50s because it was working.
It was working, and it was Kellogg back in the turn of the 1900s, and a lot of these whatever you call these institutions, mental hospitals, they were doing enemas. They were cleaning themselves out. And if you're into metaphysics, you'll understand what the root chakra is all about. So you're feeling that end of your body. You're also going to feel a little more grounded.
It's a great question, James, and a lot of people starting out are going to have it and be concerned that, hey, why do I have diarrhea? Usually that means I have food poisoning or some other issue. And so great question for everybody. What's coming to my mind is Brother Sage mentioned in a recent talk about saturating the body. We want to, if you can remember back to when you were in your mother's womb, floating in your plasma, in your urine plasma, being the happiest and most carefree of your days. We want to take every chance we can get to get back to that state. And so what Chitta is talking about is reintroducing that orin to reach that saturation point. And especially with aged, I'm seeing the benefit of using an enema, especially with aged, because it comes out, you evolve or age your urine outside of the body, then put it back in. And as you play with the aged evolved urine, you're going to see that it's obviously like completely different from fresh. It has different healing properties. It's a powerful medicine. And without having to go into the details of how it's a powerful medicine, to be able to reintroduce it into the body, that's a great way to do it.
What's
And
your
of
dose for
course,
the aged enema? What's your dose for an aged enema? How do you?
You fill up the whole container or no?
no, I'm doing about a quarter. What is that? 250 milliliters. A cup. Is that a cup?
Oh yeah, that's a decent amount, dude. I mean, if it's a cup, I don't know about.
Actually, not a cup. I'd say I'm at a half cup right now, and it's not very aged. Actually, it's a month. It's a month aged, yeah, and it tingles.
Yeah. Yeah, they let you know it's got power.
It alkalizes the entire body. It has to. It's so alkaline. It's crazy.
That's a
Part
good.
of it up in there too. My first enema was an aged, and it was actually mints.
Yes.
It's not aged, not too much.
And did you get to enjoy the sting?
It's as wild as a blood transfusion can be, which is pretty crazy because it's like somebody else.
He was putting his consciousness up my butt, so yeah.
Love has funny ways of expressing itself.
Boy,
Did you have any manly man or testosterone feelings?
A little bit. He's been yeah.
You felt like moving the mountain.
That makes sense. Those hormones, those extra hormones are in there.
I hear that there's a cream for women that includes testosterone. And bee pollen has testosterone. But the cream is specialized. It's not very common. But the not bee pollen. Pine pollen is very high in testosterone. Yeah, maybe. I mean, both genders eat that.
And it kind of explains why I had so much
Estrogen
strength.
is not the same way. We're all too high in estrogen. Estrogen is not the same way at all.
No, it isn't. So, Rael, I want to get back to you in just a second. I'm going to go into a little more detail in saturation dosing, but you look great. Your skin is radiant. Your eyes are bright. Doesn't it
My
look
skin is so different after just 2 weeks. It's incredible. So nice.
All of you guys precious. All of you guys look great on the screen. So saturation dosing is the way to accelerate the purification of the body. Most people, like a lot of things, they go, well, I drink it every day. That should be plenty. But in this is like exceptions to the rule where more is better. Because if you're increasing the topical protocols, foot soaks, enemas, body massages, eyes, ears, belly button, fasting, and so on and so forth, you're helping to go deeper into the system, into the brain, into the tissues and so forth, lymphatics that need to be pulled out of you. That would take a little bit longer if you're just drinking it, but you're not changing your diet. are doing any of the wellness lifestyle changes that you really need to do, you can speed that up through saturation dosing.
Okay.
So, Precious, I want to get back to you. If you could, you said you had a little more things you wanted to say about aged or evolving urine. Can you talk a little more in detail on that?
Yes, please.
Oh, well, I was just alluding to the properties of aged and how it changes, and I'm probably not the most experienced person here to do that. So I'm happy to hand the baton to whoever would.
Really, I mean, we got a bigger pH. We have, I think ammonia is increasing in aged urine only for a limited time. I think it does increase for like maybe up to a couple months. Nah. Look, if you filter it, it might stop producing ammonia. I think the ammonia is part of the cleansing process of the urine. And it's about dosage, frankly. You don't want too much ammonia, it seems like. At a certain point, I would have to say, in terms of internal use. But it's perfectly safe in the urine. It's producing it to clean itself. So that's a pretty profound up. I'm very sure of this. Why? Because it's got a very strong smell, ammonia smell in particular. And then I was filtering a huge pea tub that I was soaking my whole body in. And I was filtering it through cheesecloth every day or every other day. And it would go from smelling like ammonia to not smelling like ammonia every time I did that. And it wasn't a chemical filtration. It was just cheesecloth. So it was attaching itself and associated with mucus and sediment, clearly, because it was being removed with the mucus and sediment. So I really appreciated that observation, and I'm going to keep talking about it for a long time, I think, because it nuances the ammonia conversation in a way that reflects reality.
Well, we do have some people who have 13, 15, and 20-year-old evolving urine, and they
Right.
still test out at 13 and 14 pH.
I think they would actually smell less like ammonia. The black stuff doesn't smell like ammonia to me, and it was sealed. So it probably got rid of the ammonia.
Right.
After it's done cleansing itself to its fullest needs.
Yeah, so it sanitized itself or purified itself.
Right, I don't want to call it an immune system. There's nothing to be immune from. It's just a detox and adaptation system. That's it. Yeah, so it has a process that can go to completion. It's very cool.
So that's been my experience. Doc Mike brought his 12-year-old Oren to the hospital to help save the life of Vijay Gupta. Was it last year or the year before? And it was dark as you can be. I got to taste it. It tasted fine to me. It actually didn't smell bad. It just looks like black ink.
It doesn't smell bad. That's what I'm talking about. In general, it doesn't smell bad, much less the very obvious and sort of like very sharp ammonia smell. It's gone in the 13-year-old stuff.
Yeah. Here's a question from Adam. I'll give my take on it, and anybody else wants to jump in, that's fine. He says, how can I convince, there's that word, convince my SO, I'm not sure what he means by that.
Significant other.
So thank you. Significant other. I got to learn all these acronyms. Friend, family, that drinking, touching, smearing urine is a good and healthy practice. That's real simple, Adam. Know what you have. When you're sold on it and you have absolute confidence in it, it'll be transferred to other people. It's just your uncertainty it's in question right now. Does that make any sense? Emily, the question was, how is he going to tell his significant other, friends, and family?
He said, yes, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Because you're gonna get that from people all the time. I'm still holding back. I don't know. They might judge me or criticize me or kick me out of the house, blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what? If you got something that could save their life, your resistance, as data would say, is futile. Just get it out there.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to correct you on that, Sage. I'm a super nerd. Data. Yes.
Data. Okay. Misspoken. Emily, go ahead.
So I've been practicing since June of 2021. I've been in not like relationships really, but I've been with a few other people, and they didn't practice and they didn't know about me drinking my urine. and it was difficult. I felt I didn't really have a need to even tell them, and I knew that that was actually a problem over time. The feel that I wasn't able to open up and be my true self. And these people, they're good people. They mean well in your life, and they're there for you to, you learn from each other. But
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, you want to be true to who you are. And if they shut you out, then that's their problem overall.
Yeah, speak up, guys. You don't have to walk on eggshells or be afraid they might walk into your bathroom and smell something.
Yeah,
And if you and if
Please.
you lose one, you might find a better one.
A better one.
I have.
And
Yeah.
distilled waters clean things. I consider urine therapy distilled water. Even though it's got minerals, but it's not still. It moves.
All right, here's the next question from Adam. Anybody wants to take this one?
Oh, but it can clear things out of your life.
And people too. Brilliant. Do you have any idea how to start this conversation? For example, with his significant other. Anybody want to handle that, or you want me to start?
Oh God, I really do, but I don't want to talk this much.
You have an SO. Okay.
Dude, I mean, look, like Emily and I may be starting a relationship. I really want to start a relationship with Emily here, frankly. And yeah, it's important to me. I mean, look, she's even on the call, right? Like that's a big deal in my universe for sure.
And a public declaration at that. Okay.
Great. No, it's just meant to be when it comes down to having the right people there for you.
Very big time.
And
So,
someone that you trust.
Adam, first thing you want to ask them is, do you have an open mind? What I'm about to say might be new to you, and yet I found it most helpful in regenerating my body, having a healthier body than normal, and actually feeling good about myself. Is that something you'd be interested in hearing? You don't want to just come out and say, I drink my pee. I just thought you might want to know how to do that. It takes some sensitivity, but there are ways to introduce anything to anybody, and particularly this practice.
I
Yeah.
have a slightly different route, which is
Yeah.
maybe use some of the resources. Is it in Shivambu Hut that you mentioned? There's a list of famous folks that have proclaimed on video, like sharing things like that, like, hey, like I'm checking this out. Do you have any openness to this idea? Like not just saying it from you, but saying it from like, do you have any openness to hear Madonna share her secret beauty practice? And you kind of wrap them in that way, and then you bring it into. There's some wonderful videos on YouTube right now, and that I feel could videos that speak to like the fountain of youth aspect of urine therapy, and that it's plasma, and that all the wealthy people are wanting to get plasma and stem cell injections these days, and you bring it from that route. I mean, this is worst case, that your partner is perhaps not so open-minded, but perhaps vain, or and wants, and like everybody else would be happy to stay young forever. I'll pause there.
Yeah, it's a good idea. If you want to take yourself out of the spotlight, you can always share it like Emily's holding, and you can share urine therapy books. You can share you can share YouTube links. You can do all that kind of stuff. Hey, I heard from a YouTube channel, this guy was doing all kinds of stuff with the plasma water that his body produced. Would you take a look at it if I send you the link? Hey, I got this book called The Healing Water from Within by some author in Hawaii. Would you want to get a copy of it? I mean, you can do it on the down low, however it works for you.
And then when you sense if there is any openness, then maybe you begin to bring it around to yourself and your interest in it, or even your practice, as you really gauge that level of openness and see if they're ready for it.
All right, that's a little more tamer than just simply saying, hey, I drink my pee, doesn't everybody?
Yeah, wait, doesn't everybody?
Doesn't
Oh,
everybody? You're so last paradigm. Come on, get caught up, guys. Beautiful, beautiful. Next question. Anybody have a question for either Adam or for anybody?
I
Okay,
have one.
okay.
It's about aging or evolving the Orin. And I mentioned earlier that I had 20 years ago I had boiled down urine to concentrate, which is a practice out of Vanderkruen's book, and currently, as I got started recently, I was experiencing benefits right away, and I was saying, wow, now I wish I had some age. And then I remembered I've been catching all of my Orin for a couple of years now in gallon containers, and then I feed it to my papaya trees out in the garden. And the papaya trees especially love Orin. And so I remembered, oh wow, I've got 8 gallons of my aged Orin in the garage, but it's had a cap, it's had a lid on it, and they've been closed up. And most of them are about a month to 6 weeks old. So then I open the bottles, it smells real strong, it doesn't smell good. And so I thought, okay, maybe I'll put it in like a big bowl or a pot, stainless steel, put it out in the sun all day, and let it get some sun, let it off gas. But it's been super hot and really sunny here in Hawaii and in most places in the U.S. And so it's like I'm not sure if I'm cooking it, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing. Like, what do people here feel about it staying raw versus cooking versus the topic of having a lid on it versus having it breathe? And is it all okay, or are there preferences?
Great questions, Precious. There's the great questions, and it could go either direction. The simple way to age it is to just don't touch it, leave it alone. It's going to evolve naturally. It's going to increase in power and stem cells and nutrients and all manner of stuff, even frequency. Whether to cover it or not is optional. Some people use a cheesecloth, a sprouting bag, whether it's flax or hemp. Some people use a nylon stocking. Some people use a coffee filter. It's irrelevant. I put on a screw-on lid because nothing can contaminate it. It'll sterilize and neutralize and alchemize anything that urine touches. So that's personal option. That's personal choice for people. Some people decide they want to energize it. They put it out in the sun with a crystal, or they put it under a pyramid or a Nikola Tesla plate, or they wand it, and just whatever turns you on, guys. It's all personal choice.
I have some jars sitting out in the forest right now at my special spot.
There you go. And what do you intend to do with that? What's your purpose for that?
I don't know yet.
Stay tuned. Well, wonderful. For those that have read any of my books, we've come up with 25 or 26 topical protocols. I think one came from Chitta, was the incredible mesh nebulizer. And there's always new discoveries. I mean, I just learned about the belly button soak about 3 years ago and had to write it in the book, because there's 72,000 nerve endings that end up at the pichati where they cut the cord, and you have that little insert called the belly button. Well, it's still charged with life force and tentacles that go out to every part of your body. So getting a soaked cotton ball, cotton pad, washcloth, and leave it in your belly button as long as you can. Some people just lay down on their back. They put something to weigh it down, right? So that's another thing you could do as a protocol. And if you guys come up with a new discovery, please let me know. This is how we find all these things. And people are finding ways to use urine therapy in ways I never would have thought of, or maybe never would have tried. But so, bring it on.
I was considering that cotton ball yesterday, and I was thinking of those ace bandage type things that they sell to wrap on a bandage, to keep on a bandage in the pharmacy section. And I was imagining, like, I guess you could wrap that around your whole torso to hold the cotton ball in place.
Well, you can, and if you're going to go to that extent, you can do one of the protocols in the book, and that is the whole body wrap. Now, years ago, they used to do an herbal body wrap where they would paint on these herbal concoctions all over the body, and then wrap you in either flannel or cotton and then plastic, so you would sweat and the pores would open up. You could do that with evolving orange.
The liver is a very greedy organ, whether you put it up your butt or your mouth. The tissues are really where the hormonal milieu lives, in my experience. And you can get a huge boost in how you feel because of the hormonal improvement via direct contact with the tissue, with the urine, external application. This works for all vitamins, actually. It just gets the actual tissue levels up. Because if you take it internally, the liver is going to take it all and then siphon it off at its leisure, probably after it's done freaking out about all the poison that you're putting in. So it's just we have so much gunk and goodness stuck in our liver that's not being mobilized, I swear. And so that's a huge reason why this topical approach has such profound benefits that should frankly be coming about from drinking. I hope the drinking is preparing the liver, and then once we fully repair the liver, we can drink and it really nourish the entire body in the way that makes logical sense, which is kind of right away. And clearly, the urine is yellow. That's a liver tonic color all throughout nature. But yeah, this topical approach just cuts the greediness of the liver right out of the equation, and it makes a big difference. And it's an important thing for health. It's not just about making pretty skin or doing something weird.
Yeah. So here's something that I do, and it's nice to remind you guys of it, and you may already built it into your wellness practice, is oftentimes people are going around thinking, well, I'm healthy, I eat healthy foods, whatever that means anymore. I have a good lifestyle. Well, just to be sure, it's good to do regular maintenance. So what I encourage people to do is spring cleaning along with the cycles of the planet during fall, spring, winter, and summer. That's when a lot of the indigenous people would do their internal cleansing. They would do their purification practices. So if you can get into some kind of rhythm with the planet, rhythm with your body, and that's when you go, okay, I'm going to do enemas every 3 months. Just, start to build some kind of regularity in your practice. Oh yeah, it's time for liver cleanse. It's time for a gallbladder cleanse, and the lymphatic system and the lungs and the skin. That way you can get ahead of any kind of pollution that's going to be tossed at you, eaten by you, shared by other people, and you can be a lot healthier than you would be. Does anybody have any kind of regular practices? They do it on a particular cycle, or just is this an all intuitive group here?
Well, that intuition is how I do the cyclical stuff.
Yeah.
Hands down, it's way too complicated to think about it. Oh, when to take turpentine. I mean, clearly a lot of things.
Yeah, you've got a whole shelf full of cool stuff.
Yeah, you have to intuit it to get the cycles right. But, unless you're a Taoist, unless you spend your whole life learning about these cycles.
Yeah, it's time to play. There's way too much. Here's a question for guys. Can you name any of the ingredients, or what I call the special sauce, that's in orange?
Minerals. That's why a huge benefit comes with stays with boiling. I had to bring that up. You're killing enzymes for sure.
Yeah.
You're maybe taking some of the particular energetics out of it because you sort of energetically clean it with the fire element, I would assume. Maybe you put it into a more mobile state as a liquid crystal for sure. So it's not going to hold the same information that it was holding as its previous crystal form, as a crystal that can hold information. So it helps to clean the water of stagnant energy, I'm sure. But you're definitely killing enzymes. Some people think you're killing the urine. But if there's benefit at all, definitely look at minerals. Probably still vitamin content, even though you cooked it, but the minerals never die and they're still organic, I'm sure. And that's kind of the definition of plasma, is because you can have sea plasma. It's mostly because it's structured water with minerals in it. There's other stuff in there too, but that's mainly the idea of what you can reconstruct the blood with. It's all crystal tech. I mean, minerals are crystals. This water is crystal. It's all crystal technology. So yeah, I think something about what the goodness in it is super having to do with minerals, no doubt. Like there's a lot of other cool stuff in it.
Thank you. Emily, go ahead.
Well, I would say that it's whatever you feel is there, really. It's liquid consciousness. So we can come up with different names of the things that are in our body, and the plasma ultrafiltrate is just what it is, really. But if you want to get more scientific, then Chitta's the guy.
Yeah, just more materialistic. I'm like, there's a bridge here between spiritual, basically the ether and matter, and that bridge is water and other crystals.
Well, according to a university in Alberta, they have identified 4,690 compounds, elements, substances in human urine. And I bring that up for a reason. When you read the list, like from Cohen Vanderkruij's book, The Golden Fountain, you'll discover that there's answers that go to people who say, well, is it good for sleep? And what about nervous and equilibrium problems and adrenal exhaustion? And you look in the list and you'll find out there's melatonin, serotonin, DHEA, oxytocin, B vitamins, magnesium, all things that people would normally go to their health food store to acquire these things, and most of them are synthetic or isolated anyway. And your body makes it in the perfect ratio and the perfect proportions and balance just for you in amazing timing with a knock on the bladder. Hey, time to take your elixir. So if you study that list, there's thousands of different things that are been identified. Most of them are way past my ability to understand them, much less to say them out loud. So,
and then those nutrients are being delivered in a perfect nutrient delivery system, which is such an issue that people consider when they're taking supplements, is how bioavailable is this supplement that I paid lots of money for? How much of it am I actually going to absorb? And what
So
are
much so,
the chances?
Like the best supplements are going into bioavailability right now, and they're doing really weird stuff that's not natural to do it. Nanotech with nanolipids, for example, probably fine, but like, why not just drink your pee?
yeah, and a lot of that stuff. I worked at like 5 different major health food stores, and what they were calling natural, and they were calling plant-based. Oh yeah, the expensive new stuff is under the term plant-based. And we found a lot of plant-based stuff, like companies from Garden of Life, by the way, is like owned by Coca-Cola or Nestle's or something like that. A lot of those companies sold out. So you don't have to question your own body's ability to produce what you need, which is a real reassurance, at least for a lot of us, that you don't have to wonder, if I put that in my body and it came from my body, that's got to be good for me. Why would the creator built that regeneration and that recycling system in you if it wasn't for you?
Aren't we reabsorbing it in the bladder? Don't I hold my pee when I don't want to get up to bed from bed in the middle of the night, and I wake up and I don't have to pee anymore on occasion?
That's a whole nother seminar if you'd like to do a video on that. Can anybody briefly explain, and I know this inside out, can anybody briefly explain the Damar Tantra and who the heck is Shiva and Parvati?
Well, I mean, there's one controversial bit about it. It's like, I drank pee for a couple of years and I didn't start flying. But I'm like, look, if you go full Hindu with it, there's big cycles of time.
Yeah.
Basically, the earth has been the earth. I mean, in terms of what's on it, people and whatnot, but there's major different cycles of time where it all looks very different. It all functions differently as well. And yeah, whether these are metaphors or not, I'm inclined to think that they're not metaphors, that to at least a major degree that would blow our minds. But it was a different time. It was a better time, and that history is moving in a collapse sort of direction, and we will rise from the ashes of the age of Pisces.
So do you think the Hindus, talking about Shiva and Parvati, by the way, the guy who did the uploading, publishing my book, he did an awesome job. The fonts are nice and readable and big, but for some reason he put this bar across with the title of the book, and it hides Shivambu's vessel of her urine cup. Nobody caught that one, but
I mean, it perfectly hides it. It's like
perfectly hides
right
it.
there, dude.
So here's a quick overview, and it's kind of a funny overview, but let's see if I can play this out. One day, Parvati decides to out her husband, the great Lord of the universe, Shiva, and says, Shiva, how come you don't age? How come you still look great and you're healthy and you're sexy? What is your secret? He says, drink of yourself and you will know, you will live. And so he ends up laying out this 9-year program of how to do shivambu, how to heal every condition, and at the end of that period, how to achieve physical immortality. Well, now, 5,000 years later, oh, by the way, we've come up with the statistics. There are over 500 million people in 50 nations that practice this sacred art, the sacred healing art. So 5,000 years later, we've had to learn to question some of the mythology and the teachings of the traditions of the Hindu teachings of the Dhamma Tantra. And what I mean by that, and you guys might have heard the term midstream. There are a lot of people who decide that since they read it in the Holy Book, that midstream is a thing, and you should get rid of the beginning of the stream and the tail of the stream. Well, that was written in one verse. In the following verse in the Dhamma Tantra, it states that their belief was the flow of the water that came out of the body was symbolic of a snake, and that the head and the tail could harm you. And then the verse right after that says it's based on tradition and superstition. Now,
If you live all the way up here in your chakra system, it'll cause you harm. If you live all the way down there in your chakra system, it'll cause you harm. But drink. I mean, to me, maybe I would go with don't just drink the beginning. But
all of it is sterile. All of it is precious. All of it is beneficial. The rest is all belief systems.
Yeah. I mean, I've got Kundalini in my system, and I writhe around like a snake on occasion. Maybe every night. Maybe I do it every freaking night. But I love the snake imagery. What can I say? But yeah, there's no dogma in urine therapy.
Anybody understand that statement? Because it's one of the Shivambu wisdoms that are in the Shivambu wisdom chart. If you've not seen it and you want a copy of it, just reach out to me. A digital graphic designer did a great job of having Shiva on the border with the highlights of all the Shivambu wisdoms, which goes from intuition to it works regardless of your considerations. It's a lovely chart if you're ever interested.
I'd like to share about the Dhamma Tantra. In reading Cohen Vanderkroon's book and coming to urine therapy through that, I was a yogi back then, and so that was very important to me. And coming back to urine therapy years later now, I see how much it has progressed. Like all of these practices that we're mentioning of utilizing all of the Orim and applying it on and into the body in all these myriad ways that have now been time tested and are found beneficial, go so far beyond what people who are only examining the ancient texts mentioning of Shivambu will not get to enjoy the benefits of, such as eye drops, such as spraying it up the nose, dripping it in the ears, applying it to the skin, taking baths.
Saying, yo, you got to put it in your eyes.
Stick it up your bum.
Gotta get some
In
goggles.
Sanskrit.
Goggles are great.
I love when you bring out the goggles, brother.
There's
You wanna
there's
hear
got to be a buried text somewhere that's basically
Oh.
I'm interested to try the goggles. I haven't yet. I have a pair though. Has anyone else? I'm like a little bit scared too because
Scary.
I've never done eye washing. Could you tell us, Brother Sage? Could you tell us about like what some tips for the goggles and what we might experience when we try that and
Yeah,
help us be less afraid. Help me be less afraid to try it.
I'd be glad you're bringing out the comedian in me. So thank you for doing that. This is one thing you want to know that ahead of time, that if you already got some orin in your goggles and somebody asks you something on the camera, you might not know where they are because you're seeing through water, through lenses. So this idea came from George Johnson, the dude out there in Montana.
his real name is Tim Rogers.
Tim Rogers, he can have as many aliases as he want. We all can. But instead of doing an eye cup, you're familiar with eye cups, right? Okay. Instead of doing one eye at a time, you got both eyes covered. You can blink, you can keep your eyes open, and you might even have flashbacks of being in mom's belly. So what you want to do is keep that on there for 5 or 10 minutes, or as long as it feels right and comfortable, then you take it off and let everything drip and massage it all over your face. That's the short version.
Emily.
You know, so I had to take a bunch of science classes for school, right? Like chemistry, and we're given these goggles that we have to wear. And I think I got rid of them, but that would have been perfect because it's like the bigger goggles. It's not the small, tiny ones. So it's like the really wide ones. So you basically can just like keep it, like a bunch of it, like on your whole facial almost, because it covers the top.
Does it have a suction of some sort?
Yeah. It's like strapped onto you. Just got me a flashback of wearing the goggles.
Another cool thing you could do, you can tell I've had so much fun designing protocols. There was a time when my first couple of books were coming through, the transmissions were coming through. I'd walk in the store and go, that's not a shower cap. That's not a bulb for little kids. I get shower caps, and I would buy all these devices. I'd bring them home and test them, and they would become the next protocol. So
that's why the world is made of language.
Like
Harris McKenna said, it's made of language. Your thoughts change what these things are. I swear.
They do, and if you have powerful thought forms or thought force, you're going to be a manifest generator, manifester. Well, you guys know who you are. And
you're a generator type. Don't worry about it. You're a generator type.
So I brought home this 4-pack of purple, blue, red, and yellow shower caps. I'm going, they're not just shower caps. So you can put one on your head. You can put them over your feet like surgery booties. You can put them over your hands for a mobile hand soak and wrap them around your hands, wrap them around your feet. And you can be in a walking urine bath with all these different things all over you. So go out there and see things in ways you never thought you saw them before, and you'll be amazed. You'll come up with new.
You know what? The next time they tell the whole world to wear a mask, you just soak it in, and you're just there. It's like your own nebulizer, that like a portable nebulizer.
You would have been fun when COVID hit, and someone comes up to you and goes, "You smell like pee." I said, "Yeah, but I'm safe from COVID." Mm.
I walked around New York City. I was on the subway wearing this black hat and a silver-lined turtleneck thing, just because it's not a real fucking N95 or whatever. But like basically everybody was social pressure. I eventually got over and stopped wearing a mask on the subway and everything. But still, I was doing that and I was nebulizing my pee through it, and I was feeling like a ninja. I mean, plus I love being covered up entirely and walking around New York City. It makes me feel cozy because I'm mildly autistic.
Yeah, that's
I nebulize.
Look around, but you okay?
I mean, I clean myself up with nanozeolite and pee. I'm a X. Well, we're all on the spectrum. Look, I've got proof. Look, guys, this is gold. I'll be right back. One sec.
So while he goes away, I'm going to make some quick announcements. I'm opening up for the next urine therapy training course number 16. If you know anybody who wants to study all the material, this is the textbook for the course, which you can get from either Amazon or from me. And so that's a 5-part series. It's 15 to 16 hours long, $300, and you get a certificate of completion in urine therapy. Also, the water family directory is still available if anybody wants to be listed or want to find anybody. I'm still offering consultations one-on-one for anyone on the planet, some kind of coaching. If you want to look deep, do a deep dive into your belief systems and your patterns and thinking and want to get free by unraveling all that nonsense that you're still carrying on your journey, just reach out to me. And I want to thank each and every one of you. What, Chitta?
Precious wants to do the course, I hear.
Who does?
Oh,
Precious?
your teacher training course.
Oh, right on.
Teach right now, but he still wants to do the.
I'm going to leave you my email address so you guys can reach out to me. Because once this chat is over.
I will say that I did the UT training course and I was really, really happy to be on the call with you guys. And you do it, I think it was like twice or 3 times a week. And it was just a nice get together that, you know, I made some friends, Ernie and Fiona, and we have beautiful souls that you just get online and you kind of just talk about your week and also different protocols and sharing ideas. So it was a good way for me to like get into the worlds of urine therapy with everyone.
Okay, you got that part. And I'm still offering, and one person is getting one right from me right now. It's an honorary PhD. This is not a play on words. An honorary PhD in urotherapy. And I was given the authority to do that from my mentor, Dr. Vijay Gupta, and he gave me an honorary PhD. So I have basically a doctorate in urine therapy. So if anybody wants one of those, we have a graphics designer, Eddie Ferry's wife, who put that together.
Oh, nice.
If you're interested in a degree which you can frame and put up on your wall, people walk in and go, "Oh, you're a therapy teacher, right on." Just let me know as well.
Maybe when I'm in Hawaii with you.
No, you got to give me a heads up because I don't keep them stored. But you have an inside track to me, so that's easy.
Yep.
All right, guys. Any last things before we close the call and do a group?
Yeah, I got soil tests here from all these different organic farms over the U.S. and the names are redacted because it's like sensitive information. But they show that there's like 1,000 pounds of aluminum per acre on average in U.S. organic farm soils.
I can believe it.
Let's get real about our health, everybody.
Precious, if you will, send me out your contact information so we can follow up after the call. You have my email now. That's right, Adam, a PhD.
Yeah. And Chitta over there, my brother, is a professor.
He's a professor of.
He deserves all of it.
All right, guys, let's do the group hug. I'm going to jump off and move on to the day. Aloha, guys. Thanks for stopping by. We're going to put this up on YouTube in just a little bit. And if you would like your website address or your social media address included, send that to me using that email address, gitsoms@gmail.com, so I can put that in the description area.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll immediately be known by millions of people, so get prepared.
Sweet.
Aloha.
Nice to meet you guys.
You too.
Nice to meet you guys. Bye.
Bye.